Hey guys, after 7 years on YouTube, I finally need a change. That's why I invested 320,000 euros in my new ghost project. What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? This will be my biggest project on YouTube so far. I bought a house, which I'm going to renovate, and I'll show you the building now. So let's take a look inside and see what it looks like. Yo, here we are in the entrance area in the stairwell. It's already quite large. The house is currently divided up as a single family home, but I'm going to change that. I want to create 3 separate apartments here, and I'll show you later how I'm going to do it. Now let's first take a look at the different rooms here, because we'll be busy here for quite some time. It starts right here with the first room. This was the kitchen, or rather, it's still the kitchen. Everything is still in here, so of course I still have to clear it out. All of this has to go, and then part of the living area will be created here. The days of this wall here are numbered. It's coming out. It's not a load-bearing wall because I want to create a large open-plan living and dining area here. That will immediately look much more modern. What's already good is that there's a chimney built into the apartment. It will later be almost exactly in the middle of the large room, and then you can connect a tiled stove here. Yeah, I think that's very positive. The flooring has to come out too, of course. They're tiles. Yeah, they're not really modern in terms of looks, or what do you guys think? Yeah, there's a bit of chiseling to be done. All right, let's move on. And here we go right onto the next room, and this was the former living room. This room is actually bigger than it looks in the video. And this here is the wall to the kitchen. It's coming out completely, and then we'll have a large living and dining area here. The long window front will also make it quite bright in here. So I'm really curious to see what that will look like. It's going to be really modern and get rid of these small rooms. Nobody needs them. Guys, look at this, an old tiled table from the 80s. That's almost a piece of German cultural heritage. But yeah, well, that's coming out too, of course. The next room is a small storage room or a pantry, whatever you want to call it. I don't know yet if I'll leave it as it is or if I'll build a kind of cloakroom in here. But in principle, it's actually always good to have a little storage space. So in theory, I could also take out this wall here. It's the connecting wall to the living room. And then I would have an even larger living room area. And then you could, for example, also put the kitchen in this niche here. Yeah, these are all considerations that I still have to think about. But I actually want to demolish as little as possible, and a storage room has its own advantages. We'll see. And off we go to the next room. This is another larger room, and this used to be the master bedroom, so the larger of the 2 bedrooms. This is now one of the rooms where I don't really have to do much, just clear it out. So getting this huge wardrobe out of here, that will be the most work. And then, yeah, in the end, it's a bedroom and it will stay a bedroom. From the bedroom, you can go directly into the bathroom. You can see it here. It's not exactly big, but for the size of the apartment, it's completely sufficient in terms of space. In terms of looks, it's all still from the 70s, 80s. But all of this will be torn out. It will all be redone. For the redesign, I already have a few ideas in mind. For example, a seamless bathroom. I'd like to do that. A concrete sink, maybe a cool vanity made of epoxy resin and wood. Yeah, so I already have a few things in mind, and I have enough space because I also have another bathroom upstairs. Now let's take a look at the last room in this apartment. This is the children's room. You can see it here. This is also a rather small room. It's still quite cluttered. Huge wall unit, bed, all of that has to go too. Then there will be a lot more space in here. And with that, we're already done with the first apartment. So, welcome to the second floor. We are now standing in the upstairs kitchen. In terms of the room layout, this apartment is exactly the same as the one downstairs. But what makes this apartment special is that everything is still like it was in the 60s. That's why I also call it the retro apartment. It's like a journey to another time. Yeah, it's got something, right? What do you think? And now take a look at this wallpaper here. This reminds me of something. Now I know what. It's almost the exact same wallpaper that the Ludolfs had in their office back then. Yeah, I think some of you will still know that series. Yeah, baby, yeah. Let's take a look at the next room. But yeah, let's just see what kind of floor this is. It looked like tiles, but luckily it's laminate, so it won't be a big job to remove it. Now let's continue to the living room. You already know the layout. So here we are. Here too, I'm going to tear out the wall to the kitchen again so that there's one large room, just like downstairs. And what's a little different about this room than the others is that it's still in its shell state because, for example, there are no ceilings, no flooring, and the wallpaper has also been removed. So I already have significantly less work to do with the renovation. You can basically start rebuilding right away. What I also really like about the house, for example, is this right here. You can see quite well that they didn't skimp when it was built. The entire electrical installation is already laid in conduits, and of course that means significantly less work later on because you don't have to cut any grooves or anything. Yeah, that was, for example, another reason that positively influenced our decision to buy. The other rooms are also almost identical. Here's the storage room again, although it's a bit smaller than downstairs, but the bathroom is a bit bigger. Let me show you that as well. It also looks a little different than downstairs. So, for example, there's a bathtub installed here, and you can already see in terms of area, it's a lot bigger. Yes, the bathroom here will also be completely redone. The bathtub is coming out and a shower will be put in here. But otherwise, as I said, the bathroom is identical. From the bathroom, we go straight back to the master bedroom. It's identical to the one downstairs in terms of the room and also the size. Yeah. You don't have to do much here either. The only thing that's different from downstairs is this here. This room has a balcony. I'll show you that right now. Yeah, it's not particularly big, and the view is also modest. So you have a view of the roof of the barn, and here the inner courtyard. Yeah, it's no Alpine panorama, but the view is also secondary for me. I'm not going to live here. This will be a rental house. And in that regard, I can only quote an acquaintance of mine who bought an apartment in Munich, and he's of the opinion that it's better to have a bad view and a small balcony than no balcony at all. Yeah, he's right. Or what do you guys think? Can we leave it at that? I think so. And now let's take a look at the last room and then we'll move on to the next apartment. The last room is the children's room again. Here you can now see the actual size because there's no wardrobe in here anymore. Everything is still furnished in the 60s style. Yeah, that was the second apartment. Yeah, here we are now, as you can see, in the attic. It's still completely undeveloped. You can tell it's freezing cold in here. It's also a huge area here. You could build a nice big apartment in here, at least that's the plan. But until then, a lot of water will flow under the bridge. The good thing is there's also a loft up here, so you can create additional storage space for the apartment. So I think in terms of space, it will become a 2-room apartment. But now let's go back down quickly. The temperature in here is really unpleasant. You can see it on my red nose. Now let's continue in the basement. Here we have one of the basement rooms. In terms of size, it's quite decent, but actually rather unspectacular. This is where the individual cellars for the apartments will eventually be created. I want to make the corresponding partitions here. Yeah, well, let's keep looking. Here is basement room number 2. Yeah, also actually unspectacular, but also quite large. Then let's go to the third basement room. It's right here. It's a little smaller. Yeah, it's a kind of laundry room, I would say. And then we have the heating system here. Here are the heating oil barrels. I won't do anything there either. It will stay as it is. This is the furnace, an oil furnace from Wiesmann. We're going to leave it as it is. It's from the year 2006, so it's not that old for a furnace. It's staying in. It'll last a few more years. For example, it was also very important for us that the furnace was still in reasonably good condition, because if we had had to replace this one too, we would have been out another 40 to 50,000 euros. And yeah, I hope it'll last a few more years. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Yeah, that was the basement, and my conclusion so far about this property is it's by far the best maintained property that we've looked at in recent years. I have to say there were some of a different caliber during the viewings. So I'm curious to see what it will look like here when I'm done. Well, this is the first project that scares me a little. We'll see. Alright guys, that was the first part of my new XXL project. You've seen it, this is really a huge property. But that wasn't everything, there's more to it, which also contributed to my decision to buy, but more on that in the next video. I hope you liked the video. If so, feel free to leave a thumbs up. And I'm going to start clearing things out here now. We'll see each other soon in new videos, and then you'll see what happens next. Take care, bye!